On today's episode, we're going to review ChocoPro 236, where we have, of course, the Super Asia Championship being on the line. But on the added bonus, we got people in attendance for ChocoPro for the first time in a while. As you know, this is how it started with them before they started using a ring. And we also got New Japan with New Japan Road. We even got, of course, NWA USA, and we cannot forget New Japan Strong. And of course, a couple of news updates that we definitely have to talk about what's been taking place in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 236. This is the first time, as you know, we have audience making their way. Now, before ChocoPro, they had those matches with mats, and they had a lot of people there. It was instead of the brown mat, chocolate square, it was a blue square that they had. But I'm sure they made it work as possible. And they did remove the windows that you guys ever seen down there. That's pretty cool. We did have certain people that did their part. Now, our first official match we had was a triple threat match, or three-way as they call it. Sayaka Obihiro versus Chonchiru versus Masahiro Takanashi. So I thought it was a very interesting match because, you know, basically you have two veteran wrestlers that know what they're doing versus someone who is also a veteran and doing her 12 years. But, however, it was very interesting how certain things exactly turned out. But it was Chonchiru who walked out as the victor when he pinned Sayaka Obihiro. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We got Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Mei Saruga versus Yuna Mizumori and Ami Sakura. Now, you can tell in this type of match, it's going to be interesting. As you know, the students are together. As you know, Chi and Mei Saruga right across their master, which is Ami Sakura. Yuna, I don't know if she did learn under her, but yeah. But it was pretty interesting. But it was Chiko Shikawa who actually fell down and lost the match. And that's how it goes. Basically, it was by pinfall. Now, our next match is the one we've been waiting for, which is the Super Asia Championship match between Shin Suzuki and Balinaki. Now, keep in mind, this match wasn't happened because Shin Suzuki pinned Balinaki. Balinaki requested this match because he saw how much, Shin Suzuki wanted this match to happen. So, of course, by the blessing of Ami Sakura, she blessed it and made this match happen. So the real question is this going to be Shin Suzuki's lucky opportunity to win the match, or will Balinaki reign supreme as the Super Asia champion? That's always the question. Now, I did notice how Balinaki was able to, of course, apply submission holds in this match against Shin Suzuki. Shin Suzuki tried to hold on as much as possible, but it was just too much until finally there was a pinfall. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Balinaki retained the title. Now, in the past, they never had any jogging tournaments in the Chocolate Square when it was just the blue. However, this is the first time we get to see that. But just to radiate everyone, the Best Bros, and I made it all the way through. Chiko Shikawa was the one who defeated Mei Saruga. Yuna Mizumori defeated Balinaki. Shonshiru was really funny. He wasn't even in the building. He was outside with the people right across from them, and he went through the window just to get inside, and that fits in pretty well. So he didn't make it through. The 4 participants that made it through, Emi Sakura had to go through Chiko Shikawa. Well, Masahiro Takanashi had to go through. I think it was who I forgot who it was, but anyway, it was a really interesting matchup. It was Masahiro that made it all the way through to Emi Sakura, as you know, good friends who also were tag team partners. But there can only be one, and it was in fact, of course, um, Masahiro Takanashi that walked out as victor, giving him the chocolate. Now, as you know, we do have another ChocoPro event taking place the following day, which is 237. We have 2 matches. We got one of them I'm aware of is the Best Bros versus Chiko Shikawa and Emi Sakura, and I forgot which one was the other one, but it's going to be a very interesting one. So I think that's pretty much it with the ChocoPro. I believe it's time for me to move on to the next review, and that is, of course, New Japan Road. Okay, so let's talk about New Japan with New Japan Road. This is their second show that they've done so far. Now, I have the first one. There is no video of that whatsoever because it was a house show of a type. If you guys knew that, so basically, I cannot talk about it or review it because the thing is, I did not witness it. Now, since we have this one, we could. So anyway, this is day 2. We have some interesting matches. The first one, we have Kosei Fujita taking on Taka Michinoku. Now, in this type of match, you know Taka, he's a veteran in the game, but he was able to beat Kosei Fujita by applying submission techniques and, of course, forcing Fujita to tap out. As you know, the name of his promotion, just tap out. Next match, we have Yuto Nakashima teaming up with Clark Connors, taking on the veterans, Tiger Mask, and of course, as Kevin Kelly would say, hey, look, it's Humna. Yep, Tomoaki Humna. Now, you can tell by the look of this match that Clark Connors, as you know, he's a rhino. He wants to have the bigger challenges. However, he has to go through many other wrestlers that he wants. However, it was, of course, what was it? Yeah. Nakashima, who actually picked up the loss, apparently, to, of course, to Hamna. But however, you know how Clark Connor is. He wants a bit off what he can chew off, but we'll see what happens then. Now, our next match, we got Minoru Suzuki and Yoshinobu Kanemaru of Suzuki-gun taking on Rohit Oiwa and Tomohiro Ishii. Now, keep in mind, Ishii and Suzuki have been at war with each other many times over, as much as we can count. But however, this one ended with Kanemaru picking up the victory, but he decided, I'm going to dismantle the Stone Pitbull by taking out his knee. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Kanemaru decides that he's going to challenge him or Ishii wants a piece of him, but we'll see about that. Next match, we got Chaos, Yo, Yano, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto taking on Bullet Club, Gedo, Dick Togo, Yujiro Takahashi, and Evil. Now, keep in mind, as you know, Bullet Club and Chaos have been rivals for a long time. But in this particular case, we see none other than Hiroki Goto, who picked up the victory. And of course, no, scratch that, it was Yo who picked up the victory by taking out Gedo, who we all know was one time a Chaos member and manager of Okada. So, Yo, on the other hand, sent a direct message. But however, it appears that Chaos members they're still got their sights set on none other and the never open weight 6-man tag team titles that both Yujiro and Evil have. Now, our next match, we got the Now, our next match, we have the United Empire consistent of Aaron Henare, TJP, and Francisco Cara taking on Yado, and 6 or 9 Masawato and Ryosuke Taguchi. Now keep in mind, TJP and Francesco Guerra will have a title shot for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. This is 6 or 9's third defense that will happen. It's going to take place during the New Japan Road. I don't remember if it's going to be on a Monday, but we'll see about that. But as you know, in this type of match, Aaron Henare was the one who picked up the victory when he did the full Nelson lock onto Yado, and he refuses to let go. It takes a lot of wrestlers to do that, but Francesco Guerra and TJP are sending a direct message saying that those titles will belong to the United Empire. As you know, they currently have the IWGP United States title. Well, they don't. Ospreay's the champion, but he doesn't have the belt. Of course, Khan and Cobb has the IWGP heavyweight tag titles, but that's it. Now our next match, we got LIJ, Sanada, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito taking on Togi Makabe, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, and Kaguchika Okada. Now, as you know, the Okada and Naito have been mortal enemies in the past, but however, in this particular match, we have the strongman himself, Shingo Takagi, who picked up the victory when he took out Makabe, and it was over right from there. You know, Shingo is the powerhouse of the group, and I think that's what it's good for them to have. In our main event, we have other members of LIJ, mostly from the junior heavyweight division, Bushi and Hiromu, taking on Bullet Club's Sho and Taiji Shimura. Now keep in mind, Taiji Shimura will put his title, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, on the line against the winner of the Best of the Super Juniors, Hiromu Takahashi. Now keep in mind, these guys have fought before in the past. We'll see how last time Taiji lost the title to Hiromu. So will history repeat itself? We will find out until we get that day, but this is tag team action. But it was Hiromu who picked up the victory, sending a direct message to Taiji that title will be heading back to LIJ. So that's pretty much it, what we got for New Japan on the New Japan Road. So let's move on with NWA USA. Alright, NWA USA. I failed to do one on the lot when I came back from my trip, but this time I get to do it. Our first match, we have a brand new wrestler coming all the way from Italia. We have this guy named Mercurio, hopefully I pronounce it right, taking on someone you guys know. It sucks that he was no longer in NXT anymore, and I'm talking about, of course, Dexter Lumis, going back to his old name, Samuel Shaw. Now, you can guess he's back to his old tricks again, doing what he does best, scaring the bejesus out of his opponents. And what he did is, of course, he took out Samuel Shaw with the silencer, and it was over. But one thing for sure, this Italian should not have pissed off a very cold, silent, slithering, whatever you call him, right in his face. And he's going to pay the price. Trust me. Now, we had two interesting interviews coming from, of course, Maeve Valentine. The first one, of course, is the power couple, Camille and Tom Latimer. Now, Camille has been very outspoken about how Tom Latimer should be main eventing. That's the thing. So she's been criticizing Billy Corgan, saying that he deserves a much better opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong. He has been improving a whole lot. He has becoming something that he deserves to be more of a champion, and he really wants it. But however, will Billy acknowledge this? We'll wait and see. Now, the other interview, as you know, we got brand new NWA Women's World Tag Team Champions, pretty empowered Ella Envy and Kenzie Page. Now, keep in mind, there has been a bit of a controversy over the way that things ended, but they pretended it didn't. But the obvious question is, who will be their next opponents? Well, we'll find out soon enough when the time's right. Now, our next match, we have Colby Corino along with Wrecking Ball and Jay Bradley from the Fixers taking on Homicide and the Mortons, Ricky Morton and Kerry Morton. Now keep in mind, last time in NWA Power, Colby Corino played on Always Ready, played a very interesting, smart tactic, tried to find a way to ensure he gets his title. He cashed in on the Champion Series on Homicide as soon as he went through hell with PJ Hawks, but it did not do any well. As you know, he has a problem with Kerry Morton. He thinks that Kerry Morton, he is a nobody. He's no second generation wrestler just like him. But, however, it was Kerry Morton who picked up the victory by pinning Colby Corino, and Colby Corino is beside himself. He always claims that he is the true guy of the second generations of pro wrestling. So, it's a pretty interesting match, but I loved it. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on to our last review. I believe it's New Japan Strong with Collision in Philadelphia. Okay, New Japan Strong, Collision in Philadelphia has some interesting matches we definitely got to go to. Our opening match, we have Team Filthy, consistent of the West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs, and JR Kratos taking on the LA Dojos, Kevin Knight and DKC. But however, we saw the return of Alex Coughlin, who's now upgraded. Now keep in mind, this rivalry between Kratos and Alex Coughlin goes way back for months. Now, if you guys remember, JR Kratos was beside himself that he lost to a young lion. Alex Coughlin was the one who defeated him with his strength. Now Coughlin looks at his new look like thinking, Kratos looks at his new look as an android, a ridiculous one. However, the match ended in favor of Team Filthy thanks to Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. But however, much of the attention was diverted between the rivalry between Coughlin and Kratos. And I'm sure down the road we will see a match between those two. As you know, Kratos will not rest until he destroys the one man that made him look bad, and that is Alex Coughlin. Now our next match, we have Arya Daivari taking on the debut of someone you guys may have seen on Ring of Honor and maybe other promotions, Delirious. Now, it was a very fun, interesting match, but however, much of the attention is Daivari really going to go back to the dark side? According to the Drama King, Matthew Renroll, he believes he will because, that's the Arya Daivari that he knows, which, no surprise. But, of course, he did took him out completely with a super kick. 1, 2, 3. Good night, Delirious. Now, our next match, we have the Battle of the Bohemians. We have the debut, I don't know if this is his first time or not, but it's Jake something taking on House of Black member Brody King. Now, this is one of those matches you definitely will be like, hail to the yes. That's a good match. Two big guys. But however, I probably would have loved to see Jake something win because it would have allowed him to make me come back more with New Japan. And that's something we definitely would like to see. But however, Brody King applied the Gonzo Bomb, allowing himself to win the match. Now our next match, we have Chris Dickinson taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi. I mean, what a great match as well. I enjoyed it. It was like something you see. Now, for a fact Chris Dickinson, who has faced tougher competitors, but his challenge is a guy who has carried the New Japan company on his back for many years. We're talking about the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. That is something we definitely can get. But it was the high fly flop that allowed Tanahashi to pick up the victory, and I thought it was a pretty good match, and it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed that match. So I think that's pretty much it right now we got with New Japan Strong. I believe that's it for the reviews. Let's move on with news updates. are some news updates for everybody. First things first, we want to congratulate on Toni Storm and Juice Robinson. Turns out they are officially married. We did not know that. Now, the idea what's been going on is they got married during Toni Storm's time when since she was released from WWE, and it's totally understandable why they kept it quiet. But it's a good thing. We're happy for them. As you know, they were together, and of course, we were well aware of their engagement. So, congratulations on them. Now, I haven't seen or heard any announcements, but by the time this video will be uploaded, I'll probably get the information coming from DDT. Now, as you know, recently we've been seeing foreign wrestlers now finally returning to Japan to participate in any of the promotionals they have. You know, we see New Japan, Noah, GLEAT, and now DDT is entering in that phase. So they said that they will announce foreign talent that will be participating in their latest upcoming event in August, Wrestle Peter Pan, which is their version of WrestleMania, which I'm excited to watch to see this. I really want to see this. However, I think that's pretty much it. Now, as you know, I mentioned that Willow Nightingale will be heading to Tokyo Joshi Pro for the upcoming event, Summer Sun Princess, that will take place on July 9th. However, it turns out another announcement was made by them. As you know, current AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa will be heading to Tokyo Joshi Pro to challenge to face off against their top ace, Miyu Yamashita. Now, however, some of you probably say she would have been better off with Stardom. True, but according to Thunder Rosa, she prefers Tokyo Joshi Pro. Now, if you guys have been aware of this or not, back in 2020, Thunder Rosa was the International Princess Champion, but she had to relinquish the title due to the fact of the restrictions of COVID-19. So basically, she'll be heading back. I do know that Maki Ito wants to have another opportunity against her because if you guys have been aware of this, it was Maki Ito who was the International Princess Champion before Thunder Rosa. Now, and finally, as you know, there's been 3 opening spots for the upcoming 5-star Grand Prix tournament, which is the annual tournament where we'll see who will be getting an opportunity for a shot of the red belt, aka the Wonder of the World of Stardom Championship. And as you know, they're using the wrestlers who currently have 2 to 3 years of experience. However, one has been announced that she has completed it, reached the maximum points that she needed, and that is Gadzai Ami Sourei. She reached up to 8 points. Now, however, some of you probably question who will be joining next. Well, right now, from what I can see, and I will confess, and I'm really sorry about this one, Waka Tsukiyama has 0, so most likely she will not make it in her block. So basically, from the block A area, we have Momokogo, who only has 2 points. Same thing with Miyu Amasaki, 2 points. Rina, on the other hand, has 4 points, so she most likely could be a possible wrestler that could get into the 5-star Grand Prix. But however, the B block, that's a little tricky at the moment. Mostly we have Saya Ida, Hina, Lady C, and Maya Sakurai. They have all of them 3 points. They all have, of course, 1 loss, 1 draw, 1 win, which is ridiculous. However, Ruka, on the other hand, only has 1 point. Most likely she may not make it all the way to the amount of points that she needs. So at the moment, I do see in this particular system, most likely I see Rina could make the possible, but I don't know who in the B block can make it. That's the problem, because we only have 4 competitors and most likely has 3 points. So like I said, it's kind of tricky. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Me doing these. Coming up, I will do a 2 review of section, mostly coming from the Japanese side. We have the upcoming ChocoPro event, 237 with 2 matches, and more on New Japan Road. So I think that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.